Okay, now we should be ready to create our map class. One more important thing that I want to mention is that we have our grid that is a transform position 0, 0, 0, and all our tile maps are at the same position 0, 0, 0. This is important that all of those tile maps are at the same position, since we want them to cooperate with each other. So forest needs to be at the same position as our island tiles are, so that we know that this is the exact position at which our unit will move. Okay, with this out of the way, let's go to our scripts. Let's select our map, and we should have already our map class that we should have used previously to prevent many structures being placed on the same spot. So let's open this script up. Great. So here, currently we have a dictionary that represents our buildings, and we have a reference to our tile map, which is our any tile map that is on our map, which allows us to check the position of a that we take from our unit and convert it to the position on our tile map. This is great. Now, what we know so far is that we have multiple tile maps. So instead of this tile map, let's rename it. So right-click rename. Let's rename it to be island tile map. Or actually, I think this will be island collider tile map. So let's name it properly so we know that this is the island colliders. Okay, and we are going to add here a couple of tile maps. So sea tile map, forest tile map, and the mountains tile map. Now, we are not going to use this tile map for the sea right now because I do not plan to add ships, but you can assign it here and you can get information from it inside this map class. Okay, with those ready, we need to also have a list or a couple of lists that will store the references to the positions of our tiles, so of the cells of each tile map. But if you recall, we had to convert get cell position for, we have passed the world position and we have received the cell position on the tile map. So basically what we need to do is the reverse process of getting now the position in the cell space of our tiles and convert it to the list of vector2 positions in the world space, so that we can use them to move our units, to compare them to the position of our unit. Okay, so basically what we will need to do is create a similar method. So I will paste this method here. We will create a method called private vector3int that will be called get world position for, and we are going to pass vector2int cell position. We are going to return vector3int ceil to int. We are going to get the island colliders tile map, cell to world, and we are going to pass vector3int, so convert to vector3 in the cell position that we pass here in this method. Okay, so now we have a way to get access of the world position for a cell on the tile map. Now to fill in those lists of vector2int, we are going to need another method, and this method will be called private list vector2int get tiles from, and we are going to pass the tile map here. So what this method will do is it will return us a list of vector2ints of world positions from this tile map. So we are going to create list vector2int temp list equals new list of vector2int, and we are going to loop for each vector2int cell position in our tile map cell bounds, which stores all positions within, which is an enumerator, so it allows us to loop through each cell on our tile map inside the bounds of the tile map. Now, working with tile maps isn't that straightforward like with other components in Unity. Nevertheless, this is how we can loop through each position on our tile map. And if we can get the cell position, now we can calculate vector3int world position equals, and we are going to use this get world position for cell position. So this is the method that we have created just a while ago. And next, now those are all the positions inside the bounds of the tile map, but this doesn't mean that those positions exist on our tile map, which is pretty strange. But anyways, we need to add this if statement, if tile map has tile, which allows us to check if the cell position is on our tile map. So actually what we could do is move this if statement, and if this is false, we will continue. Okay, and if this is not false, then we are only going to calculate the world position, and we are going to add to our temp list, add vector2 int, so we need to convert vector3 to vector2, the world position. So when we loop through each tile in the bounds of our tile map, we are going to return this temp list. Now, to maybe make this method a bit more clear what it does, let's call it get tiles world positions, or get tile map world positions from, and this will be much easier to understand what this method does. Okay, so we have this method, so all we need to do is fill in those lists. Okay, so since this is a mono behavior, what we can use is the awake method, and in the awake method we are going to simply set forest tiles equals get tile map world position from, so our method from the forest tile map. Mountain tiles will be get tiles world position, tile map world positions from mountains tile map, and the same for our island tiles. We're going to get those from our island colliders tile map. Now, as I have mentioned previously, if we take a look at the Unity at our tile maps, we will see that our island colliders, let me enable this, render, contains the mountains and trees as well. So what we need to do is calculate all the tiles that are on the island that are not forest and that are not mountains. So we need to have an additional method to calculate those. So let's create an additional method, and I will place it just before our below our awake, and this will be called private list of vector2 int get empty tiles, and this method will take in vector2 a list of vector2 int island tiles, list of vector2 int non-empty tiles. We are going to create a hash set vector2 int empty tiles hash set equals new hash set vector2 int from our list of island tiles. So hashset doesn't keep the order of the tiles that were added like a list, but it allows us to use the default equality comparer of a vector2 int to only store unique tiles on this in this hashset. So what is it good for? Well, it contains a method called except with, and we are going to pass to it non-empty tiles, so all the tiles, so all the forest tiles and mountain tiles. If we take a look at the documentation of except with, removes all elements in the specified collection from the current hashset object. So what we are going to do is get all the tiles from our island tiles inside the hashset and remove from it all the tiles that are non-empty, so all the forest tiles and mountain tiles, and we are going to return a new list of vector2 int the empty tiles hashset. So what is left from taking away from the island, the forest and mountain tiles, and this will return us basically the grass tiles on our map. Now, I know this is a bit more complicated what we did so far, because we need to store all the data before we can start using it for the calculations of our movement system. So basically what we are going to do is we have this empty tiles list here at the top defined, so we are going to call this is equal, and we are going to set it to be equal to get empty tiles. We are going to pass as the island tiles list that we have. Next, we need to concatenate the forest tiles and mountain tiles, and for this we are going to use a link library. So what we can do is we can call forest tiles concat and right click on this, and you will see quick actions using system.linkLibrary. It will appear at the top. So now what we can do is we can concatenate this forest tiles and the mountain tiles by simply passing to this concat mountain tiles, and this will return us IEnumerable, a new collection of vector2 int. So we need to convert it to a list by passing .toList, and this way we do not need to create a for each loop that will add forest tiles and mountain tiles together and create a new list of tiles. This way we can quickly create this new list of tiles. So the forest tiles and mountain tiles is the same, but what we are passing here is a new list of vector2 int containing both the mountain tiles and forest tiles, and get empty will generate us all the grass tiles, so excluding from the island tiles both of those lists. Okay, we have written a lot of code, so just to test it so that we know that it all works, let's create at the top a private bool fields. We are going to add serialized field attribute to those. We are going to have show empty, show mountains, and show forest. And those will be used by our gizmo to show us if our collections, so our lists, contains valid tiles. Now, if you are familiar with how gizmos works, we can basically create an additional structure on our map that will depict if this is correct or not. So now let's visualize those lists. Let's slide down at the bottom of this class, and we are going to add two methods. One will be private void onDrawGizmos, which is a method from Unity, which allows us to show us in the debug mode, so in the inspector, if what we are doing is correct or not. So what we are going to do first is we are going to check if application is playing equals false, return. So basically we want to only show those gizmos, those additional informations when we are playing the game. So when we have those tile maps and those tile maps get read by the awake. So we get this data inside our lists. So if this is so, we are going to call drawGizmos off, and we are going to pass, for example, empty tiles, color white, and show empty. If you type this, right click, quick actions, and generate the method, and it will generate you this kind of method that will get all those values. So make sure that you rename those lists, vector to int to be tiles, color to be color, and bool to be is showing. Now we have three of those calls. First one is for the empty tiles. We are going to use color white and show empty as the bool flag that tells this method if we want to show those gizmos or not. We're going to have forest tiles color yellow, show forest, and mountain tiles color red, show mountains. And all we do in this method is we are checking if is showing. We are going to set gizmos.color to be the color that we pass here, and we are going to loop for each var position. So this is a vector to int position in tiles, and we are going to call gizmos.drawSphere. So this will create a solid sphere with the center and the radius defined by us. Center point is defined by a new vector 3, position x, position y 0, and radius is 0.3f. Okay, with this all done, let's save. So file, save all, and let's go back to Unity because we can finally test if our list contains what we want them to contain. Okay, let's close the tile palette, since this sometimes throws some errors when we run the game or go back to inspector. Let's disable island colliders tile map render. And now in our map we need to assign here all the tile maps. So let's assign island colliders, sea tile map, forest tile map, and mountains tile map. And for now let's leave those bools flags unchecked. If we press play, let's see what happens. Okay, no errors, that's great. If we now enable show empty, you should see those white spheres showing at the corner of a tile. So we are not getting the center of a tile, but rather the bottom left corner of each tile that is emptied. So as you can see, this looks pretty promising. So we have found all the tiles that are empty. Now if we select show mountains, we should see that the red sphere shows up the bottom left corner of all the mountains on our map. So that's great. That means that we have all the mountains. Let's enable show forests. And as you can see, the remaining parts are showing. So if we disable the empty, we will see only the mountains and the forests. Great. So this means that we now know everything about our map, and we can use this data to control our character movement, to tell the characters if they are moving on top of the forest or if they want to move on to the mountain. And since we have those empty tiles, what we can do is we can create a big grid of tiles, our custom structure, and check simply if this tile, this new tile, so for example the sea tile, if this is not on our big grid of tiles, then this means that this is a sea and we cannot go onto this tile. But that's what we are going to tackle in the next video. Okay, sorry about the lengthy video. See you in the next part. Take care.